All right, let's get started. Number one, Scarlett, 28. Number two, Andy, x to the seventh. Can you explain what you did here? Yes. When you are adding terms that have the same base, when I use the word base, does everyone know what I mean when I say the word base? When you're adding terms that have the same base, sorry, when you're multiplying, I repeat, sorry, when you're multiplying factors that have the same base, you add the exponents. Does everyone remember that rule? All right. How about number three? Angelo. X to the what? Tenth, yes. Can you explain what you did here? Exactly. So, yes, exactly. Thank you, Angelo. So when you're raising a power to another power, you multiply the exponents. Do you remember going over these rules early in the year? All right. So we're going to multiply a monomial by a monomial. So again, a monomial is a term. It could be a number. It could be a variable. It could be a number and a variable. It could be a number with multiple variables. That's a monomial. When we multiply monomials, like you saw in the do now, when the base is the same, you add the exponents. Now we're just going to have different types of monomials with different coefficients, and we have different rules that apply. Very easy, very straightforward. We could get through this lesson relatively quickly. So in this first example, this is one monomial. This is the second monomial. When you're multiplying these two monomials, you multiply the coefficients. Can someone volunteer and tell me what the coefficient of the red monomial is? Coefficient of the red monomial. Daniel. And what's the coefficient of this green one? So you take the 4 and the 5 and you multiply those and you get 20. So you multiply the coefficients. And then we already saw in the do now, when we multiply the variables, if the bases are the same, we add the exponents, which would give us x to the fifth power. So our product, the product of these two monomials is 20 x to the fifth power. Any questions on this first example? All right. As you can see, the practice is for 4.1.c. If I'm going too slow for you, your assignment is 4.1c, 1 to 10, and 4.1b, 1 to 10. But just follow along for a little bit. Can I have a volunteer raise their hand and explain how you get the product when you multiply these two monomials? John, is your hand up? 6 what? 6a to the seventh power is correct. The coefficients are -2 and -3. -2 times -3 is +6. A to the third times a to the fourth. Add the exponents a to the seventh. Any questions about example number two? Example number three. Abigail. X3, Y3. Can you explain what you got here? How you got this? Exactly. So there's a x to the first power there, and there's a y to the first power there. And the x is a like base here, so x times x. Add the exponents, 1 plus 2 is 3, and the same for the y's. Nice job, Abigail. Any questions about example number three? Am I going too fast? All right. Now we're going to multiply a monomial by a polynomial. So it's the same thing as the distributive property. The only difference is we're just using a monomial, which could be a single number, it could be a single variable, or it could be a number and a variable, or a couple variables. It's still one monomial. And we're just going to distribute that monomial to every single term inside the parentheses. So there's nothing new here. You know how to do everything we're about to do. So it's just like the distributive property. We'll take -4a to the third and distribute it to each and every term inside the parentheses. Can I have someone tell me what the product of this first one's going to be? Angelo. All right, -12a to the ninth. Question mark. You stand by that. What's a to the third times a to the third? What do you do with the exponents? You add them to the sixth, exactly. A to the sixth. Next one, -4a to the third times negative 5a to the second. Misha. Positive 20a to the fifth. Moving right along. Jessica P. Negative 8a to the fourth. And the last one. Rohan. Say that again. Negative 24a to the third. Are you sure you want to say negative? Jessica R. Positive. Positive 24a to the third. All right, how about here? John. 1/2 x to the fifth minus what? Minus 9x to the fourth. Nice job, John A. Would anyone like an explanation on this one? Is everyone comfortable? Yes? Huh? So we take this monomial and we distribute it here, correct? So when you're multiplying monomials, you multiply the coefficient first. So the coefficient here is 3. And what's the coefficient for this term here? So what's 3 times 1 over 6? Which is 1/2. That's where the 1/2 comes from. And then now we take the variables, x squared times x to the third. And of course we add the exponent. That's how we get x to the fifth. And you understand? I understand. All right.
Would this be wrong if you made it like they came with 0.5, so would it be wrong if you put 0.5?
It would not be, that would not be wrong because these two are equivalent. They mean the same thing, so it's correct. So 0.5x to the fifth is not incorrect. These are both correct. Both of those are correct. All right, that's the lesson. 4.1b is more adding and subtracting. 4.1c is multiplying monomials.